Hello, dear ones. We have a powerful solar eclipse on October 25th in Libra in Vedic astrology in the Nakshatra of Swati. This is about relinquishment. This is about relationships. This is really asking us to come to terms with where we are equitable in our energy exchange in relationships, and it's a restart. It is the ending of something and the beginning of something, but we have to trust and be willing to surrender, relinquish before we're going to know exactly the new path that we're taking. It's happening at the same time as Diwali is happening, and our great planet of Venus, our great connector, is combust during this time. So we're really being called to walk a very integrous spiritual path that is really opening up for us in your spiritual practices that you do on this solar eclipse and around it are going to be exponential. They will deliver 10, 100 times fold, and it's all about you letting go of what's no longer serving you. Hi, Prema here, and welcome to Chart Your Path. I am so glad that you're here. If this is resonating for you, I really invite you to subscribe to the channel, to share, to like. It really supports getting the word out. And I'm doing a few very special offer eclipse readings, and I have a few spots left. And so if you're interested, the link is down below. Things are rocking and rolling. We're in eclipse season. We have a partial solar eclipse, which is a new moon eclipse on Tuesday, October 25th, around 2:48 Pacific time a.m. in the sign of Libra at 7 degrees in the nakshatra of Swati. Overall, this eclipse is about relationships and our ability to compromise, agreements, equity, and in relationships. But it's about some other things too. It will be visible through Europe, Central and Western Asia, Siberia, and Northeast Africa. Where it is visible, it has the most impact, but it's impacting all of us. A solar eclipse is a shift in direction. It signifies a new beginning. It is a restart. It's an end of a cycle, something we're asked to let go of, and it is the start of a new cycle. Now, this very powerful solar eclipse is happening at the same time Diwali is. It's the festival of light. As we go into the darker time of year in the Northern Hemisphere, we're called to hold the light within, to recognize light, and as I like to say, to bring the light with you and bring the light and shine it in other places. Remember, the solar eclipse is when the mystic, in this case it's the mystic, it's happening with the mystic, the sun and the moon, the sun being your soul, the great king, and the moon being the queen, your consciousness, your emotions. And that is the nodes of the moon. The mystic has the availability, and so it's the magician, to block the soul. It's a shadow period of time. It's a stormy period of time. And for that reason, it is not really an auspicious period of time, but it has a great significance because the churning of the nodes of the moon is about causing us to grow. And in causing us to grow, it's causing us to grow in the physical world, and it's causing us to relinquish and let go and live closer to the divine. And the solar eclipse is with the mystic, and it's asking us to release and to let go. And in that way, we start a new beginning. It is solar eclipses that shift our trajectory and turn us in another direction in a certain area of life. Overall, around relationship, but more personally for you in the house that it is hitting you in your chart. The mystic tends to, let's say, take things away. It's asking you to relinquish, to release, to give up something in some way because this energy is not serving anymore. It's keeping you from being closer to the divine. It is worn out, it's old, it's really not, it's not serving you. So it's going to clear something out for you. And we want it to clear out from the negative part of life, what's no longer serving you and not from anything positive. And how we do that is we become aware of what it is that isn't serving us, especially in this area of life, and we loosen our attachments. The clearing out and the release is not easy when you are attached. But in order to make space for what's new, we must come to the place of relinquishment, releasing, and be willing to shift our direction, even if we don't know exactly where that is going. And in fact, we don't have the grace of that. We don't have the grace of, okay, we know exactly where we're going next. We can know that by intention, but we won't see it in front of our eyes until we've released and let go. That's just the divine plan of things. We must learn to trust. So it is it's a stop, it's a restart. So in this area of life, you're going to feel a restart, but overall, we're going to feel a restart and a relinquishment in our relationships, because this is in Libra, and Venus is involved with this eclipse. In fact, Venus, the great connector, is going to get eclipsed. It's going to be really traveling tight with the sun and is combust the sun anyway, all the way through the month, and really won't be free of the whole eclipse pattern until about the 11th of November, I believe. And so we are going to be in a time where relationships can be bumpy. So I want you to know that. And the relationship you want to nurture is the relationship of the divine. Now, if you are running the soul cycle of the moon, the sun, the magician, Rahu, the mystic, Ketu, or the subcycle that you're most impacted, if you have planets at 7 degrees, let's say 6, 7, 8, 9 degrees, right in there, you will be more impacted. But we're all going to feel it in some way. This eclipse is happening somewhere specific in your Vedic astrology chart. Overall, it's about Libra and relationships, but it is something specific for you depending on which house is in. And if you would like to know more about that and really dig into this eclipses and how they're shifting and changing and growing you, what you're called to relinquish, what you're calling in, and the other important transits for the end of this year, then book an eclipse reading with me. I'm running a very special offer. I only have a few spots left, and I would love to dive in and really help you understand your soul blueprint and what's up for you. Okay? It is not a time for big decisions or either a time to escape or run away from life. What we want to do is let the energy pass over those few days, the day before, the day of, the day after the eclipse, and we'll start to see how things make sense in the days and the months to come, because the solar eclipse will play out over a 6-month period of time until we have the next solar eclipse. So in this, I want you to set your intentions for what it is, get clear about what it is that it is time to loosen your grip on, let go, whether it's a belief system, whether it is a relationship, whether it's a way of being, whether it is a physical thing, something in some way, and be willing to loosen your grip on that, okay? It's going to serve you to make space. Libra, where this is happening, is always seeking balance, always wanting us to find that balance. And in order to find a balance, we have to compromise in some way. A little of this, a little of that, take away a little, add a little. It's the natural 7th house. And we are all a little more attuned to what it is we're compromising in relationships, in our agreements. And that's changing and shifting because the mystic is there. It's having us look very closely at, and it has been since the eclipse pattern moved into this area last March. And it'll be here in this interplay between Aries and Libra until we get into October of 2023. So we have a whole new year here. But where the energetic cost is too high in relationship, we're feeling a fallout from that. We simply can't energetically afford that anymore. So we're being called to relinquish, to let go in some level. And it could be your perception around relationship, and it could be, just inequitable relationships where it's just not serving you or serving the other. Because if it's not serving you, it is not serving the other. Things come up unexpectedly during an eclipse. And because of that, with the unexpected energy of an eclipse, you want to keep your schedule nice and light during eclipse time so that the things that do arise unexpectedly, you can pay attention to, you can take care of, you can be present for. But if you jam your schedule, it's very hard to deal with the unexpected in the moment when things are booked too tight. So give yourself space, especially if you're traveling. Give yourself even extra more time and more space, and make the commitment to go with the flow. The nakshatra of Swati is ruled by Rahu, and Swati is in Libra. It means the wind. It's this ability to sort of scatter or to gather. And its ruling deity is also Hanuman. I'll talk about that in just a moment. Has this ability to scatter things to the wind, or the wind to gather things. The best way to work with this nakshatra is to use your breath, your prana, to really do your breathing practices, whether you're doing box breathing or just deep inhales and exhales, whatever kind of pranayama, whether you're doing alternate nostril breathing, to help you to calm the chitta. When you use your breath, you calm your mind. And it's important to calm your mind during this time. The more presence we have, the more confidence we have. And so with the deity of Hanuman here, this is a great time to be chanting the Hanuman Chalisa, for instance, or any of Hanuman's mantras. Because again, in mantra practice, we're using the breath as well. Again, and as we say mantra, it calms the mind down. And with Hanuman, great Hanuman, is really all about the courage to win the war, but it's an internal battle. And in the great Ramayana, it is the epic tale in India with Rama and Sita. Rama is the sun, our highest spiritual side, the soul. Sita is the moon and our emotions, and more the queen energy. And in this great epic tale, it is Hanuman that comes in and really saves the kingdom from evil. And the way we want to translate that is that Hanuman has the ability to help give us the courage to transcend those places within ourselves, within our minds, that are in fear or not serving us in some way. So especially with the coincidence of Diwali at this eclipse, chanting Hanuman, listening or reading the Ramayana is very, very powerful for the soul. Very powerful. So breathing practices, meditation with breathing as well, spiritual practices in general, any inner practices are going to be amplified 100-fold with this eclipse, and with it, this energy of Swati. But the nodes of the moon, the mystic is already in Swati, so you can start this any time, and it's great to be, in this energy and preparing for this time. But on the eclipse time, there is a beautiful portal open for relinquishment, for letting go. And I encourage you to loosen your grip and to surrender what's no longer serving you. So again, because Libra is our natural 7th house, it has a lot to do with relationships. It is the great connector, also the muse and the artist. And with Venus being combust here, it's going to be tricky for relationships. We may feel more like we want more than we're getting, or where our relationships are just under a bit of scrutiny. It feels bumpy. The connection isn't there the way we want it to be. This will pass. And what in that I want you to notice is not to push into relationships so much, but I want to invite you to relax into, get identified with what in you is keeping you from the relationships you really want to have. And in that way, you can release and anything that's keeping you from the kind of relationship that you really want to have. Or be very honest with yourself if there's a relationship that needs to be transformed, transcended, or released. Do it with compassion. I would encourage you to wait till after the eclipse, in a place of real clarity, when the clouds and the storm of the eclipse pass, and to be just very honest. Now, you may feel a lot of passion coming up during this time, again, or relationships, if we're pushing on them, they will have the tendency to blow up. So I really encourage you to not push on the relationships. go light, go slow. Okay, the sun is part of the eclipse pattern. Of course, it always is, and it's debilitated in Libra. So, our confidence can be a little bit low as well. This is just a time, like I said, it's more for inner practice than pushing any relationship type agenda in the outer world. So you also want to support your moon energy during this time, and water does that. Again, the breath, grounding yourself, getting your feet on the ground. Again, take that time for meditation or clearing, because it's going to be exponentially powerful during this time. And you will not see everything during the time that you want to see or that you need to see. So wait till after the eclipse until clarity comes before you actually make the important decisions and the choices for the changes. And it's really an eclipse that's so much about surrender. Surrender is not giving up. It's giving yourself up to, or giving a pattern, or giving a belief system up to the divine so that it can change. So be aware of your energetics and what's coming up to shift and change, and prayer, meditation, and relinquishment. Relinquishment is not losing unless the ego is attached, and then it is only loss because the ego is attached. Otherwise, the soul sees it as transcendent. So it's a great time, a restart of positive change. So be willing to go with the flow with that. Also, Saturn is going to turn direct on the 23rd and is going to stabilize. I talked about this in the October update. I go into this in more detail, so you can listen to that, watch that. But Saturn is aspecting this eclipse, and it's going to aspect the full lunar eclipse on November 8th. So it is putting a little extra pressure to get down to the truth of things. So that is happening, and Saturn brings that truth or consequences kind of energy. We just want to be squeaky clean with ourselves, and we'll be okay through all of this, okay? And then on October 30th, we're going to have Mars is going to go retrograde. It's slowing down. We might feel that lack of things moving forward or the way we want to, or maybe a little frustrated in our passions and around communication. So really watch that. Again, I talk about that in the October update, so you can tune into that there. So have the utmost patience. Mars is about discipline. In fact, Mars is the planet associated with Hanuman, all about spiritual discipline. If we have that discipline, then we can slice through and have the courage to move through the perceptions that are keeping us from our own truth. I so appreciate you being here watching. Again, if the eclipse reading is resonating for you, grab the link down below. I will also be doing some sacred healing circles here coming up very soon for the next eclipse we have, which is the lunar eclipse, and more information coming on that. So if you're not on my email list, I encourage you to do that. Link is down below. Take the quiz and you'll be on the list. And if you haven't already subscribed, I so appreciate you subscribing to the channel. So much love to you.